Chapter 1. The Haunting Melody. Elara awoke to the faint echo of a melody. It was soft, like the distant hum of a piano played in an empty room. She blinked, disoriented, staring at the cracked ceiling above her. The air smelled of damp wood and dust. She sat up, noticing the sparsely furnished room, a single wooden chair, a dusty table, and a shattered mirror leaning against the wall. On the table lay a slip of paper, its edges yellowed with age. The words written on it sent a chill through her. "Follow the melody and the truth will find you." Her heartbeat quickened. She didn't remember how she got here, nor where here was. The melody playing in her mind felt oddly familiar, tugging at her like a memory just out of reach. Pushing open the door, she stepped into the night. The cobblestone street outside shimmered faintly under the moonlight. Rows of empty houses lined the road, their windows shuttered, their silence oppressive. Far in the distance, a faint glow lit up a single house. The melody seemed to grow louder, leading her toward it. Hesitant, she followed, the sound growing richer with every step. No longer just piano keys, but also a haunting voice humming, a tune she couldn't place. The house loomed larger as she approached, its windows flickering with candlelight. The melody now seemed to pulse through her veins, urging her forward. Elara pushed open the creaking door. Inside, the warmth of the fire lit up a cozy room lined with bookshelves. In the center sat an old man at a piano, his fingers gliding gracefully over the keys. "You've come," he said without looking up. Her breath caught. "Who are you? How do you know me?" The man stopped playing and turned to face her. His piercing eyes seemed to see through her. "This melody belongs to you, Elara, don't you remember?" She shook her head. "I don't understand. What melody?" "Sit," the man said, gesturing to the bench beside him. "The answers lie within the music." Hesitantly, she sat. As he began to play again, memories flickered in her mind. Fragments of laughter, a glowing fire, a voice she couldn't place. "I've heard this before," she whispered, tears stinging her eyes. The man nodded. "It is a part of you, locked away. To uncover the truth, you must follow where the melody leads." Chapter 2. The Forgotten Waltz. The piano's melody wrapped around Elara like a fog, tender and heavy. Each note stirred something deep within her, a memory buried too far to grasp. "Why can't I remember?" Elara whispered, clutching the edge of the piano bench. The old man's fingers danced on the keys, his expression calm yet distant. Memories are fragile things. Sometimes they hide when we fear them. But music can coax them out. The room seemed to pulse in rhythm with the tune. Shadows danced on the walls as the fire crackled. Elara closed her eyes, letting the melody seep into her bones. And then she saw it. A vision flashed before her, a grand ballroom, chandeliers casting golden light, people waltzing in elegant circles. At the center of the dance floor stood a figure, a man with piercing, green eyes and a warm smile. "You know him, don't you?" the old man said, his voice pulling her back to the present. Elara's eyes snapped open. "Who is he?" The old man's hands stilled on the piano. "He was your partner, in more ways than one. But something happened, something that shattered the waltz you were meant to finish together." Her heart pounded. She didn't understand, but she felt the truth in his words. "Where is he now?" The old man pointed to the far corner of the room. There, almost hidden in the shadows, was an ornate music box. Its golden casing gleamed faintly, intricate carvings of roses and vines swirling across its surface. "Open it," he said. Elara approached the box, her footsteps hesitant. As she touched it, a jolt of warmth spread through her fingertips. Slowly, she turned the key, and the box began to play. The melody was familiar, hauntingly so. It was the same tune the man at the piano had played, but softer, sweeter, and tinged with sorrow. Suddenly, the room began to shift. The walls faded, the bookshelves disappeared, And Elara found herself standing in that grand ballroom. The chandeliers sparkled above her, and the crowd moved in fluid motions. Yet something was wrong. The people weren't real. They were shadows. Their faces blurred, their movements mechanical. And there, at the center of it all, stood the man from her vision, his green eyes locked onto hers, filled with both longing and pain. "Elara," he said, his voice trembling. She took a step toward him, her breath caught in her throat. Who are you?" "I'm Liam," he said, "and you're the one who promised to save me." Her knees weakened, confusion swirling in her mind. "Save you? From what?" Before he could answer, the room shattered like glass. Elara gasped, finding herself back in the candle-lit room with the old man. "What did you see?" he asked, though his knowing gaze suggested he already had the answer. "A man, Liam," she murmured, clutching her chest. "He said I promised to save him." The old man nodded solemnly. "Then you must. For if you don't, the melody will never be complete, and the waltz will forever remain unfinished." Chapter 3. Shadows of the Past. The music box's melody echoed faintly as Elara clutched it, the name Liam lingering on her lips. The old man's gaze was steady, his voice measured. "Liam's fate is tied to yours, but the answers lie where your memory begins and ends." Elara frowned. "But I don't remember. Where do I start?" He gestured to the music box. "The melody will lead you. Trust it." Before she could respond, the room shifted again. The firelight faded, replaced by a cold, dim glow. Elara now stood in a cobblestone alley, the air damp and thick with the scent of roses. A soft whisper called her name. Turning, she saw a figure under a flickering gas lamp. "Liam," she ventured, her voice trembling. The figure stepped closer, revealing a young man with a worn yet familiar face. "Elara, you're here." His tone was filled with relief, but his eyes were shadowed with sorrow. "I don't understand," she said. "Why do I know you? What did I forget?" "You promised to save me," Liam said softly. "But to keep that promise, you gave up everything, even your memory of me." Elara's heart clenched. "Then why am I back? How can I help you now?" Before Liam could answer, a chilling wind swept through the alley. Shadows slithered along the walls, their forms growing darker and more defined. "They're coming," Liam said urgently. "You need to remember before it's too late." As the shadows reached for her, Elara's surroundings dissolved, and she awoke in the old man's room, the music box silent. "You saw them," he said grimly. Elara nodded, her breath shallow. "What are they?" "Echoes of broken promises," he replied, "and they won't stop until they take everything." Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, Fluent Through Stories, and share this story with your friends. Stay tuned for our next story. See you soon.